You were in pain. That part is not the question. The question is what happened in the moment you wanted someone to know. Maybe it was a phone. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was just the way you arranged yourself in the room so the pain was visible. Something was mixing. Something that was only pain a moment ago had become something else. Something that needed to not be alone. The underground man asked a question nobody wanted to ask. If no one witnessed it, would it still feel real? Not. Did it happen? It happened. Not. Did it hurt? It hurt. But in the private logic of the underground man, the man who lived alone, wrote to no one, performed for an audience of exactly himself, the pain required a witness to complete its arc, not to be believed, to exist fully. And the witness didn't have to be real. The witness didn't have to be present. The witness only had to be possible, a reader, a listener, a someone. That is the problem. That is the specific, ugly, very human problem this video is about. We are not here to tell you your pain wasn't real. It was real. We are here to look at something that happened alongside the real pain. Something that arrived so quickly after the pain that you might not have noticed it arriving. The need, not the pain. The need that attached itself to the pain before you could separate them. The need for the pain to be witnessed, and what that need quietly does to the pain. Because once the need attaches, the pain is no longer just pain. It is pain plus the question of whether anyone knows. And those two things travel together from then on, almost inseparably, almost invisibly. The moment it stopped being private. Part 1, the audience. Here is the sequence. Something happened. It hurt. And then, very quickly, faster than you noticed, a second thing happened alongside it. A question formed. Not, how do I stop hurting? But, does anyone know I'm hurting? These are different questions, profoundly different. The first one wants relief, the second one wants confirmation. And the confirmation is not that someone will help, it's that someone will know. That the pain will have existed in someone else's awareness, that it will have been witnessed. This is not a flaw. Every human being needs to be known. Every human being needs their experience to register in someone else. That need is not the problem. The problem is what happens when the need for witness begins to shape the pain itself. When you start to feel the pain from slightly outside it. When you notice how the pain looks from a distance. When the expression of suffering begins to feel slightly staged, not because you're lying, but because you're aware of being watched. Even if no one is watching, even if the audience exists only in possibility, even if the theater is empty and has always been empty, the performance continues because something in you cannot stop performing for an audience that might be there. The suffering became the self. Part 2, the role. At some point, the suffering stopped being something you had and became something you were. Not a state, a role. The person who has been through things. The person who understands difficulty in a way others don't. The person whose sensitivity is a form of depth. This is not a lie. You have been through things. You do understand difficulty. Your sensitivity is real. But something shifted. The suffering that used to happen to you started to define you. And once it defined you, you had a stake in it. Not in the pain continuing, in the role continuing, in the specific way people adjusted around you when they knew, in the permission it gave you to be less than fully present, in the gravity it lent to everything you said. The role had weight, the role had meaning, the role was legible, and legibility for someone who has spent a long time feeling invisible is not a small thing. Here is what having a stake in the role means. It means that recovery becomes complicated, not impossible, complicated, because recovery means the role changes. And if the role changes, something about the way you understood yourself, something about the specific gravity you've carried in rooms, the way people have looked at you, the permission you've given yourself to opt out, to hold back, to protect yourself from things that might hurt you, all of that reorganizes. The underground man never recovered from things that could have been recovered from. Not because he was broken, because being broken was the most coherent version of himself he had access to. The suffering wasn't what happened to him, it was who he was. And who he was not something he was willing to give up. Overman says, "Stop performing for the crowd." The underground man says, "I'm not performing for the crowd. I'm performing for myself, and I need the performance to keep going, because without it, I don't know what I am." The overman descended from the mountain into the valley. The underground man descended into himself and found the performance already running, already applauding, already confirming that the pain is real, the depth is real, the suffering means something. The performance is the witness is the self is the performance. You already know. Part 3, the witness. Here is what makes this different from ordinary self-deception. The underground man knows, not partially, not in a vague, unexamined way. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been watching himself do it with full clarity for a very long time. He knows the pain is real. He knows the need for witness is also real. He knows they've fused. He knows he can't fully separate them anymore. He knows the performance is happening, and he keeps going, not because he can't stop, because stopping would require a decision he is not able to make. The decision to suffer without the need for it to count, to be in pain in a room with no audience, not even himself, to feel something and let it pass without record. He cannot make that decision. He has never been able to make it. The witness is always already there. The witness is watching. The witness is him. The witness does nothing. Too Conscious said, "The observer can't tell the difference between experiencing something and staging it. This is what that costs." The observer watches the suffering. The observer notes that the suffering is being performed slightly. The observer notes the noting. The observer watches the performance of watching the performance. The recursion doesn't stop. It just gets quieter, more familiar, more like the texture of consciousness than like a problem. You've been here long enough that the witness feels like company, the only company that never leaves, the only one who has seen every version of the performance and stays anyway. Not because the witness loves you, because the witness is you, and you can't leave yourself. The pain was real, every time. The loneliness was real. The need to be seen was real. The specific quality of suffering that made you feel like you were in a category of your own, that was real. None of it was fake. What was also real was the audience, the one inside you, the one that was watching from the beginning, the one that needed the pain to be visible to feel that it counted, the one that is watching right now, the one that knows you're watching it watch. Both of these are true, have always been true, are true simultaneously in the same moment, without contradiction. That's what makes this difficult. That's what has always made this difficult. Not the pain, not the performance, the impossibility of separating them. The underground man wrote it all down. Everything, every contradiction, every moment he caught himself performing, every time the witness took notes on the witness taking notes. He didn't write it to resolve it. He wrote it because writing was the purest form of the performance. The most complete audience, the most responsive witness, a reader. Someone who would read this and know. And knowing was the thing. Not help, not change, not relief. Just someone knows. The suffering existed. It was witnessed. It counted. You're reading this. You know. And nothing has changed. The underground man expected that. He wrote it down anyway. There is no instruction here. The underground man didn't offer instructions. He offered a mirror. This is what it looks like to need the witness more than the relief. This is what it looks like when the suffering becomes the self, and the self can't be released because releasing it would mean nobody was watching. You already know what this is. Not here, not in a video. In the next moment, you feel something real. Notice who is already listening. You weren't pretending. That's what makes this difficult.